I am Justin Boyd.
I'm Brittany Pacheco.
I have social anxiety. Vanessa Kirby, can you come touch me, please?
Oh my God. And we are the Watchers in the Basement. Although that's valid.
Welcome to the Watchers in the Basement. We are here today to discuss Marvel's first family. They're finally in the Marvel Cinematic Universe with the Fantastic Four First Steps movie in theaters this weekend. So we're going to review the film. But before I get Brittany and Frank's thoughts on the film, I want to hit with some Fantastic Four facts. Fantastic Four, the Fantastic Four First Steps released July 25th, 2025. This is the fourth Fantastic Four movie, although unofficially fifth, because there was one in 1994 that never was released. And some of the people that played the four members of the Fantastic Four in that movie made cameos in the Fantastic Four First Steps. So I'm not sure if y'all were aware of that, but they were in little bit parts. Anyway, this is the second reboot of the film series. It was, of course, back in March of 2019, Disney acquired 20th Century Fox, which gave them back the rights to the Fantastic Four. The other Fantastic Four films were 2005's Fantastic Four, which starred Johan Griffith as Mr. Fantastic. Jessica Alba played Sue Storm. Chris Evans was Johnny Storm, and Michael Chiklis was the Thing, Ben Grimm. Then they had a sequel to that movie in 2007. It was Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. And then in 2015, we had Fantastic Four, although people refer to it as Fanstick Four because of the way the logo was on the poster. That featured Miles Teller as Mr. Fantastic, Kate Mara as Sue Storm, Michael B. Jordan as Johnny Storm, and Jamie Bell as the Thing. First Steps is the 37th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Man, 37. It is the first film and / project of Phase 6. So we're in Phase 6 now. With a runtime of 1 hour, 55 minutes. The movie has a budget of $200+ million. The box office so far is $218 million, according to various outlets today. Directed by Matt Shakman. Screenplay had 4 screenwriters, which is usually not a good sign. Josh Friedman, Eric Pearson, Jeff Kaplan, Ian Springer. Music by Michael Giacchino, which he has had numerous movies that have or scores that have been awesome. He did the Batman, he did the Spider-Man movies, the most recent Spider-Man movies. So good to hear him in this film. And then the cast is Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Ebon Moss-Bachrach, Joseph Quinn, Julia Garner, Natasha Lyonne, Paul Walter Hauser, and Ralph Ineson. Brittany, I want to get your thoughts on the movie, but first, what's your relationship with the Fantastic Four, the previous films that I mentioned there briefly? Have you seen those movies? And what was your, do you have any kind of Fantastic Four fandom going into this film?
Aside from the 94 unreleased Fantastic Four, which I was not familiar with at all. So thanks for bringing that to our attention, Justin. I'm sure there are others who may or may not know that bit, especially the cameos. That's kind of cool that they were able to bring in some, or if not all, into this movie. So that's fine. For those who might be new here on the Watchers in the Basement, hi, my name is Brittany. I've never been a fan of the Fantastic Four. Sorry, don't come for me. Shout out to those who are in today's live chat, including Yesenia, King B. Johnson, and Trisha. Thank you all for being here so much. We always love the support. Please let us know your thoughts on this new release of the Fantastic Four First Steps. I wish I could get back the hours of my life watching the reboot with the Miles Tellers, Michael B. Jordan, all that. My God, I really wish I could get my life back from having watched that. It was bad.
It's only an hour and 40 minutes or something.
It's so too much.
It's not even multiple hours. It's one.
Nope, too much. Too much. We're way too much.
Yeah.
Wasn't a huge fan of the first iteration either. It just never hit for me. It never slapped for me. It just didn't. I'm sorry. Now, with regards to this movie, I have said it numerous times. Going into movies, I try to go in with no expectations. Therefore, I won't be disappointed. Very excited about the cast, of course, with Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn, and then Ebon Moss-Bachrach. That being said, this movie is mid for me. I'm sorry. I'm absolutely sorry to say that. I actually almost fell asleep at one point during the movie.
Wow.
And that's not to say I didn't sleep well. I have thankfully been sleeping well, but there were some low points in this movie for me that just kind of dragged out. I'm like, I'm tired. I like, let's get to the point, people. And cinematically, this movie looks fantastic. No pun intended. It just kind of happened. But I think the superpowers were really well executed. I think the like just everything, the environment looked really, really good. I love the time setting of that kind of like the 60s sort of vibes. But the storytelling and the pacing did not hit for me. Absolutely did not hit for me. I'm looking at Frank and he's like, I think he's a little shocked that I'm saying all this right now. Okay, good, cool. So I did not go into this movie with expectations. I just really, it just, it's a mid movie for me. Definitely had its entertaining moments. Let's just be real. Vanessa Kirby like carried this movie throughout the whole time. I didn't understand the sports reference that Frank had shared in our group chat. I needed to have John explain it to me, and then Frank further explained it. But she carried this whole movie, in my personal opinion. I think she's phenomenal. Um, but overall, I was just like, this is not doing it for me. Sorry. I know some people are saying like, "Oh, the MCU is back," and I'm like, it's on its way. It's on its way to be back. But I don't think this movie is a defining moment that the MCU is back. The mid credit, though, we'll talk about the mid credit. Man, that was chef's kiss in Frank's terms. That was very much chef's kiss. The post credit, I'm like, okay, this was not necessary.
So, Frank, before we get your thoughts on the film, want to get your background with Fantastic Four. Did you see the previous movies? Like, do you have like a comic background with them? What do you think about the Fantastic Four going into this film?
Yeah, it's not one of my more favorite groups, but I do love the comic books. Fantastic Four has a great historic lore. Like Fantastic Four introduced Black Panther. Fantastic Four had a long storyline on Wolverine in the 60s as well. So their story has propelled a lot of other characters that we now know and love today. I love the fact that they're a family that fights crime as a unit. I love the movie. Like I thought it was great. I didn't see the Michael B. Jordan one and Kate Mara one, but I saw the previous two with Chris Evans as Human Torch, and I like those two. I thought they were good movies for what they were at that time. I love the movie. I thought it was great. One thing about the other iterations of the Fantastic Four that kind of frustrated me is that how they kind of typecasted Johnny and Thing as just like the ditzy character in the brawn, the strong guy. And like this movie encapsulated that. People forget all four of these characters are rocket scientists. Like they're not like it's not Johnny Storm is not like some ditz that just got on the rocket ship due to nepotism. Like he's a legit rocket scientist.
Yeah.
Thing is an engineer, but like these are smart people. And I thought this movie really encapsulated the team aspect of like all their intelligence. Like I loved how Johnny was able to decode language and like able to catch it. Like I like how they show his intelligence throughout this movie, not just the womanizer, playboy that he is. I like how they each character had a role intellectually in solving the conflict, which I thought was really great. I was kind of worried going into it, the 60s that being conceptualized and like illustrated, and it gave me a Jetsons type of vibe. I love the Jetsons growing up. That was one of my favorite cartoons growing up. It gave me Jetsons meeting the Partridge Family. That's what it gave me throughout this movie. Like these are shows that I grew up watching. So like cinematography wise, I really thought they hit it on the head when it came to that and like encapsulating that time frame and really encapsulating how smart Reed is. Like, yes, they never really verbally said it. That was the 60s, but it was a 60s setting, but really verbal and showcasing how smart Reed is by having all these inventions that are just beyond that timeline that they're in. I thought really showcased his intelligence as well, from like H.E.R.B.I.E to a lot of the artifacts in his lab, and like the Baxter building, how that looked. Like these are very futuristic looks that I thought was really looked good on film. Vanessa Kirby, bro. I came for Pedro and I left with Vanessa Kirby in my mind. Like I thought she really nailed this role. She's my favorite Sue. Out of all the Sues I've watched, I mean, I've only seen Jessica Alba. I didn't see Kate Mara's Sue, but she was strong. I love how they didn't leave her at home. With her being pregnant, it was like it could have been so easy to be like, oh, she's pregnant. No, let's leave her at the house. That 1960s mindset, woman at the house, whatever. Like they included her, and she played a role in saving their lives, bringing them back to Earth. I know we'll get more into it as we talk about this breakdown, but I love how they didn't go that route, because it could have been very ugly with the woman population and feminist groups. So I thank God for the MCU not letting that happen. The mid credit was dope. I've been very disappointed with mid credit and post credit scenes the last few years. That gave me something to look forward to. I wish the post credit gave me more of what, because like we don't get into the movies next year. It might be over a year till we get the next movie. Yeah, I thought Galactus, the illustration of Galactus was great. Like we never really seen Galactus in live action. Like even in Rise of Silver Surfer, you didn't really see him. You saw like, like smoke and
He was
whatever.
a cloud.
Yeah, cloud, but you never really saw him. I thought this was a great illustration of him. Yeah, and we get Baby Franklin. Like, for those who don't know, Franklin Richards is that motherfucker. Like he is, like there's in a 616, he is so cold. Like he becomes like Galactus becomes his herald. That's how cold he is in comic books. Like he's that powerful. He can recreate life. He can alter reality. Like I don't know how Reed and Sue DNA genealogy was able to create this powerful being, but he is that motherfucker. So I'm really interested to see how the MCU, Feige and company really showcase Franklin Richards in the MCU, because my problem with the MCU over the last few years is how they depower powerful beings. And that really bothers me, and not letting these motherfuckers show through. You kind of saw it with Sentry. That's probably the first one of its kind of like in Thunderbolts of like a human being or a being is being so like accurately as far as power scale in the comic books. They depower Thor. They depower Doctor Strange. They depower a lot of people that it just pisses me off. So I want to see what route they go to Franklin route as he gets older. But no, overall, I like the movie, man. I'm gonna go see it again today.
Yeah, so like you, Frank, my history with the Fantastic Four is similar. Like they're not my favorite. I have seen all the movies. Actually, I rewatched them all this week, but I'd seen them before. I like the ones that came out in the early 2000s, the ones Chris Evans and Jessica Alba. Those I think they're fun. Like for what they were, like they're not that much worse than like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, or certainly some of the X-Men films that were in that same. Like they're better than some of those. So no complaint with those movies. As far as the 2015 movie, I've watched it twice ever. I watched it actually this morning, and it's just kind of, there's not much to it, honestly. It's not like terrible. Like it's really not. It's not like okay, is it as bad as Craven or Venom 3 or Madam Web? No, it's much. I mean, it's miles ahead of those movies. And it's funny because people act like that Fantastic Four from 2015 is like one of the worst movie ever. It's like no, just like Green Lantern. Everyone's trashes Green Lantern. Green Lantern is much better than those three movies.
Movie.
I know. I don't get it. I don't get but anyway, so going to this movie, like I see in the comments, people were excited for Superman. I'm one of the biggest Superman fans. So yeah, I think that had there been distance from these movies, I would have been more excited for this film. But I came away, I like the movie quite a bit. I've seen it 3 times. I enjoyed it. I do see in the comments, people are saying it's mid. If you mean like it's like ranked in the middle of the 37 movies, I can agree with you. But like I don't think it's like a terrible movie. Like there's the thing about this movie that I think that really bothers it or that holds it back is it's only an hour and 55 minutes. And that's including the credits. Like this is a very short. I mean, you go back, look through the MCU, and yeah, there's a few movies that are like hour 45, hour 50, but like it's a pretty short movie for such a big film. And I think that's probably the problem. This movie probably had like 30 minutes cut from it. I mean, there were actors. John Malkovich was completely cut from the film. His character, he was going to play Red Ghost, who is the guy with the super apes. We do see Reed Richards fight the super apes at the beginning of the film in the montage, which I thought was a great way to start the movie, where we're much like Superman. Superman, we're jumping 3 years into Superman's career. Fantastic Four, we're 4 years into them being the Fantastic Four. I do like the fact that it's not an origin story, but it does kind of tell us the origin story. But it's also an origin that a lot of people are kind of familiar with, so I get why they did that. But to me, it's just the movie. It just like Brittany, like you said, you were falling asleep. I was the opposite. Like it was like edge of your seat because you're like, what's going to happen? And I thought the visuals. It's one of the most visually appealing Marvel movie I think I've ever seen. Galactus looks incredible. Like that was one of the best looking villains ever. I do think that, yeah, it's like they had a lot of characters and it's just the runtime to me. Like they needed more runway to kind of tell the story. You have the Silver Surfer, you got Galactus, you got the Four, now you're leading into Doomsday, which they need more time before that, in my opinion, in a lot of ways. And I think also, let's just talk about the doom of it all, because in the mid credit, we do see Doctor Doom. And of course, Doctor Doom is one of the biggest Marvel villains, but he's also very, synonymous with the Fantastic Four. And in fact, those movies that I mentioned before, he's in all three of those movies in various forms, but played by different actors. And in this mid credit, we see that Doom has come to visit Franklin Richards 4 years after the film had ended. And so all you see is a green cloaked individual with his metal mask in his hand. And so the Russo brothers shot that mid credit, much like they shot the mid credit scene in Thunderbolts. And apparently it was Robert Downey Jr. in the cloak. He was on set. He was game to do it. Like because they shot it while they're shooting Doomsday. So maybe it'll be a scene in Doomsday. I don't know.
They didn't show his face then if he donned the cloak.
Yeah, but see, they don't want to show the face. That's going to be a big thing next year. Like whenever the trailer drops, like in July of next year, because the movie comes out in December. It's slated to come out December of 2026. We'll see if it actually does. But that's like showing his face is the big reveal, right? Like trust me, we're going to see a lot of his face because the movie's called Doomsday. It's going to be all about Doctor Doom. But I do think that people went into this movie with higher expectations for seeing Doom, and I don't think people got enough out of this movie, and that's the problem why you're seeing why it was mid, because like the story is pretty solid, the action is very good, visually it's stunning. I don't have a problem with the film at all, except for it's just too short. So, Brittany, let's talk about the Doom of it all. What you like the mid credit scene? Do you think it's enough to get us from Fantastic Four? We got the baton from Thunderbolts, which connected stuff, which we had no connection really throughout phases 4 and 5. Thunderbolts connects us, although we didn't see, a similar thing. What happened in Thunderbolts, where we see the Fantastic Four ship coming into the 616 universe.
Right.
We don't see that in this. We see that they're still in the 828, which is the Fantastic Four's universe in this world, right?
Mm-hmm.
We see Doom with Franklin Richards, who's like 4 or 5 years old this time. Do you think that Doom takes the baby, or what do you think plays out, and what did you think about that scene?
So I thought that scene was really well done in the sense of just that little teaser to what's coming, because obviously we the public already know that Doomsday is going to be the next big installment for the MCU, right?
Yeah.
And it's going to be a while until we get it. I like the fact that this mid credit actually kind of went back to a mid credit like from the earlier stages of the MCU, where it led to the next movie or something, like it bridged it, right? My disappointment with the, I guess, post-credit, mid-credit, whatever it was for Thunderbolts, with like the tease to Fantastic Four, was nothing more than just to basically say, hey, that's like the next movie that's coming, but you didn't get the bridge as to how the Fantastic Four comes into the 616.
Right.
Because at the very end of this movie, where it's now Fantastic Four are in year 5 of being Fantastic Four, they're bringing the baby onto the show to, appear, and then they all get like this alert on their watch. And to me, I'm like, oh, this is how they're going to get in the ship, and they're going to somehow end up going into 616. That's how I thought it was going to tie back into that credit from Thunderbolts, but it was just a drag of three really intelligent men who couldn't figure out how to put a baby car seat into the car.
Yeah, that comedy beat wasn't, because it lasted so long.
It's lasted way too long.
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah, I agree. That wasn't the best.
And it was those little things throughout the movie that was just like, okay, we like pick up the pace. Come on, like let's get with the program.
Right.
But to answer your question about Doomsday, because I do have like questions I want to pose to Frank, of course, about these characters, since I'm not as well versed. But to the Doomsday thing, I thought that was really great. I went and like grabbed John's arm. I'm like, oh, just like the yay, it's gonna happen, But then also the very vague, like ambiguous question of, is Is Dr. Doom going to take Franklin? Like, how is this going to transpire? How's the scene going to continue playing out? Like, is Sue actually going to go toe to toe with Dr. Doom, or is Franklin going to unknowingly do something to Dr. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many questions, obviously, which kind of gets you excited about what's to come. But I thought that mid credit was great, way better than that post credit, which I know it's like a nod to nostalgia and just like the vintage and what have you, which is fine. It's just, I look at it like how I look at my job as a graphic designer. Is this one element going to make or break a movie? And it didn't break it. It was just unnecessary, the post credit. So I'm just like, meh,
Yeah, it's just kind of a fun throw in, take it or leave it.
Yeah, but make it mean something. If you're going to spend the money to have a post credit, like make it mean something. Make it worth your while. Like, otherwise it's just like, why even do it? Why?
It's part of their brand. But also at the same time, I think there's also this thing where they don't want to put out stuff that's like too far down the road, because there's a lot of stuff they haven't paid off, right? And there's
but they don't put anything at all. Like, just leave it at that. It's okay.
See,
not every movie warrants or needs to have a mid or post credit or both.
But their movies do, because they've trained the audience that that's a part of the show.
I understand. The mid credit, they could have ended with the mid credit and it would have been fine.
Yeah, that's true. No, I
should have just ended it that way.
I agree. But like I said, the last one, the Superman mid credits, the Superman mid credit, post credit, we're also take it or leave it. Like, they're just kind of fun throw ins. Like
the mid credit was fine. I like the mid credit. The post credit was just kind of like, okay.
Like, it's like I said,
why?
Meaningless. Yeah.
Yeah, meaningless.
Frank, what'd you think about? We talked a little bit about the mid credit, but what'd you think about the inclusion of Doom, and where do you see this heading into Doomsday? What, like, is Doom taking the baby? Are we gonna have a battle between Sue and Doom, or what's going on here in your mind?
That's my one pick about this movie, is that Doom is such a huge adversary. Like, when you have Fantastic Four, you have Doom. You have Wolverine, you have Sabretooth. You have Professor X, you have Magneto. They're symbiotic, right? So I don't know. I just found it weird that he wasn't in the movie at all. Or like, I know Latvia was referenced in one of the Congress, whatever, UN thing.
The Fantastic Federation or Future Foundation. Fantastic Federation.
So I know there was no representative there, and that kind of like, well, shit, is he gonna show up? Like, there's no representative in Latvia. So in this 828 world, Latvia is a place. It exists in this 828 universe.
Right.
And so I don't know where the MCU is gonna go with this, because if they're not if Doom and Fantastic Four, well, primarily Doom and Reed, they were best friends at one point. They were lab partners. They came up together. Sue dated Doom. Like, there's a lot of interconnectedness going on with Doom and Fantastic Four. So if he's not in this world, if he's not in this world, or if he's not connected, how are you gonna make him connect? Is my question. Yeah. Or was he in this world this whole time and just not? It was just kind of just concealed. Which what begs the question is, then you're changing up his whole origin story, his whole come up story, along with Reed Richards and Fantastic Four. So that'll be my question. Like, did he come from another multiverse? and came in and saw that this version of the Fantastic Four didn't have a version of Doom, and he was like, well, let me go here and there's a power signature, and this kid is showing up, and this kid was the reason why Galactus, and like it kind of like blared up a signal for him to go there to get the baby, or was he there the whole time? I hope they answer that question. It would have been nice to see like a Easter egg or a reference that he was in this world already. But I'm kind of with Brittany, man. Like I'm very, one thing about like the Thanos storyline, the 10-year story arc, is that a lot of those post credits led to other movies, and it connected everything as far as like when you saw, like, for example, in Avengers 2, Age of Ultron, when it had nothing to do with Thanos, but when they beat Ultron and you go to the post credit scene and you see Thanos' face, you're like, oh shit, when's the motherfucker coming? Like, you don't know when he's coming, but you know that he's involved in some form of fashion. And there's an understanding, like, sooner or later, this motherfucker is the big bad. He is the one that's, you thought Ultron was a problem. This motherfucker is that dude. Like, there was anticipation. Did it take a while? Yeah, but there was story building throughout all the 21 movies or whatever that got to Thanos, that gave you the warning that this payoff is going to be big. And my thing is, if you're going to do this new phase with Doom, but you're still working out the kinks, don't show it there. I'd rather you just don't do a post credit like in game. There was no post credit scene. It was just, that was it. That was the finale of that storyline. It's over.
Yeah, but that was because it was the finale of the storyline. You know, that's a special deal because it was the end of that storyline. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's still part of the MCU. But like you said, it's still on brand with what they do. They always do post credit scene. Because it was in a storyline, but now you have post Tony. It's going to a new storyline. It's It's the end of a storyline, but it's still all connected. It's still a never ending storyline of like this MCU thing that we're doing with these all these movies. And the reason I struggle with this because you don't have another movie for another year plus. So it's like, if you show Robert Downey's face for a year plus, motherfuckers are going to be speculating. Instagram, social media is going to be going crazy. Like, oh my God, we know Robert Downey's playing him. We know that it's not a surprise, but to still see his face on the screen holding Franklin would have been like, that would have been legit. That shit would have been crazy. It was crazy when he showed his face at Comic-Con last year that he was coming back. Like, imagine how it would have been if he showed his face in his mid-credit scene. It would have been bonkers. But to answer your question, I think he takes Franklin. And I think that's why they find a way to break the sound barrier or whatever, get to the 616. But like Brittany said, I wish they kind of would have showed the connectiveness of how they got to the 616. Because like Justin, we talked about this other day, after that Thursday night, we talked about this. We thought that Galactus destroyed the 828 universe. We thought he won. And they kind of escaped because they failed that universe. Yeah, I thought it would have been a better storyline. I thought it would have been a lot darker. But again, Doom is dark. It would have set a dark tone to kick off this doomsday storyline that they're creating. So
yeah, I definitely want to talk about that because I think that's something that people are bumping up against with this movie, because this movie, for me, like the movie did not end how I expected it to. Did not go how I expected it to. And I like in some ways that's cool because we talked about this a million times. Like with trailers, I hate when trailers like tell you the whole movie, right? Superman did a good job of this too, where Superman, most of the trailer was from like the first 30 minutes of the movie. I still didn't know what the movie was totally going to be going in. So that was nice to like go in and experience something and go, oh, I didn't really know this story. Now I'm being shown this story for the first time. Same thing with this movie. We all thought, I mean, Frank, you and I definitely thought this, but a lot of people thought that, okay, here's the storyline. Because of what happens in Thunderbolts, we see the Excelsior flying into the 616 universe. They're fleeing their world because Galactus destroyed their world, the 828, right? That's what we all thought. But in this movie, obviously, that's not what happens. They stop Galactus. They send him into a black hole. They get rid of him thanks to the Silver Surfer helping. And I wonder that maybe the reason why they didn't want to blow up the 828 is because two reasons. It's the Fantastic Four's first movie in the MCU. So, like, if they're fleeing their world, it's not a very heroic look. It's much like I've heard a lot of people complain about how in the movie where whenever they find out that Galactus wants to take Franklin and he'll spare the Earth, the Fantastic Four say, "No, you're not taking our son." Then they go back and tell Earth that, "Hey, like, this is what they said. This is what Galactus said." And we said, "No." And people are like, "Oh, why didn't they lie to people? Why did they have to tell the public?" And it's like, because they're the heroes. They're the protectors of the world. So you can't be these like virtuous heroes and then also lie to people and say, "Well, we don't know why Galactus he hates us, why he's coming after the Earth, but we're gonna try to stop him." So like same thing, like it wouldn't have been a great look if their planet exploded and they're fleeing it instead of trying to save it. So I get that. Also, I think that maybe the 828 might be the universe that we get the X-Men whenever the X-Men come. Whenever they have the recast younger X-Men, it might be the 828. In fact, the 828 might be the new MCU universe after Secret Wars. It's not clear. I mean, Kevin Feige last weekend, he did a lot of press for this movie, answered a lot of questions. There's a lot of articles online. I'm sure people have read a lot of this stuff. He talked about recasting Iron Man and Steve Rogers eventually. Now, he didn't say when, but to me, think about the Fantastic Four. They're Marvel's first family. They were, they started in 1961, I believe, right? If you do that, you're starting from an early point in the Marvel Comics storyline. So you could potentially reseed the world if you're going to recast and start anew after Secret Wars. It's not clear if that's totally going to happen because there's going to be a lot of characters who are going to survive Secret Wars in theory, who are going to be from the 616. I don't know how that's all going to play out. I don't know if there's going to be like one time, all the worlds are going to be mushed into one timeline, or if we're going to have separate worlds that they can revisit whenever they want to. But I think the 828 might be the X-Men universe whenever we get the new X-Men. So I think that might be part of that. Brittany, any thoughts on that? What do you see with the worlds as far as the 616 and the 828?
See, I think this is where, like, with the multiverse phase, like that, things started falling apart in a way because the fact that you're trying to bridge everything back to like the 616, and it's really hard to make everything make sense because you're in a multiverse. Now,
yeah,
it's a double-edged sword because you can say, oh, well, things happen because it's a multiverse. It doesn't make sense because it's a multiverse. But then the whole trying to make it come back into one storyline that is back to 616 it was also, like I said, the downfall.
Yeah.
And to a degree. So the idea of kind of, Justin, we've talked about this whole rebuilding phase of post Endgame, right? Post Infinity War saga or Infinity Saga. It's been tough. Obviously, MCU has had some dilemmas, but I think they're moving in the right track now. That what you just explained about maybe the 828 being the next like universe to kind of focus on, and then things have developed from there. That way, you're not having to bridge it back to 616. But I think we can assume that Bucky, Yelena, and all them from Thunderbolts, they're in 616 because of all the events that have occurred with Endgame and the loss that they've all experienced, what have you. So it's still going to be really difficult to try to like, if we're now looking at two different universes, it's becoming a bigger monster than I think what they may have anticipated because you're trying to make it make sense.
But then also
we trying to keep track
the Deadpool Wolverine universe, which is 10005. Like that's still out there. Now, granted, maybe Secret Wars is how they get it down to one timeline. I don't know, but to me, I don't know that really would work for them because, like, to me, if you have all these other extra worlds, you can with the multiverse. To me, that's the thing. I don't understand why people don't like the multiverse. The multiverse allows you to do anything. It just,
right. But the problem is trying to make it make sense into one bigger story.
Right. But that's why, see that the thing is whenever they started this multiverse saga, they said Kevin Feige and others at Marvel said that the Infinity Saga was this long 22 movie saga, right? Yes. The multiverse saga was going to be it was going to be a shorter saga. And that's not been the case. There's been more movies.
Yeah.
Almost more movies now, or as many movies in phases 4 and 5 as there were in 1, 2, and 3. So, that's the problem is you're telling the story, but like with the multiverse, like, you have all these different worlds and they're out there and you can kind of go and like, to me, it was refreshing when this movie opened and it said Earth 828. I'm like, oh, cool. Like that's all you have. To me, that's all you have to do. If you want to have another world that like where you have a new Tony Stark, which I think, by the way, whoever gets cast as the new Tony Stark, that guy is going to get killed online. Cause like, that's why
big shoes to fill.
Right. Like, that's why, to me, that's why, like, if you're going to recast Iron Man in the future, it's got to be on a different world. You can't do it in the 616, in my opinion. To me, that would be insane, unless it's like,
And it better not be Tom Cruise. God damn
no,
it.
it won't be Tom Cruise, but like even like if it's like Ryan Gosling or somebody that everyone likes, right? Right, like he's not
Glenn
Robert,
Powell.
he's not. They're not Robert Downey Jr. You know what I mean? So, but like
Yeah,
if you at least if you put him on a different world, you're like, okay, this is a different world. Because with DC, that's one of the problems DC has. Is you've had so many Superman, you've had so many actors play Batman, and it's just understood because they've been around forever. But with Marvel, because a lot of these characters we've only seen them played by one actor, you know,
yeah.
because they've only had this one long run. Whenever you get to the point where recasting stuff, that's where you're going to get to problems of like, oh, that's not my Batman, that's not my Iron Man, that's not my Steve Rogers, you know, like because it won't be the same person that you're familiar with. So,
Right.
anyway, I hope they keep the worlds open. But anyway, Frank, what do you think about?
I just
Oh,
need
go
them to
ahead.
make it make sense. Sorry, I just
Yeah,
need
yeah,
them to make it make sense. Like, if you want to identify all these other worlds, cool, but make it make sense. Like,
yeah.
let's not just hop around. I don't know. It's I haven't given up on Marvel. I haven't given up on Kevin Feige for the longest. We've said, in Kevin Feige we trust, and I think he has a plan. Things have just gone a little array at times, but I think ultimately they'll make it work
Yeah.
for whatever is to come.
Frank, what do you think about the multiverse? What do you think about like having separate worlds? Do you want it to just be one big timeline or like one sacred timeline? Or do you like the idea of that there's 828, 838, and 1005 and 616? What do you think about that?
I don't have a problem with it if you keep it separate for the most part. Because there's so many characters. Like, you have thousands of characters in Marvel. You have thousands of characters in DC. And I think, unlike DC, Marvel experiments more with like more lesser known characters, like Guardians of the Galaxy. I didn't know who Guardians of the Galaxy was until Marvel they had no problem expanding on like lesser characters,
right?
And making them popular. And I think the more you do that, it's just going to be harder. It's just going to be harder to do that all in the same world. It's just too many. It's just too many characters to make it fit.
Yeah.
And then with Marvel's salvation / issue is that they are groundbreakers and pioneers when it comes to connecting all of this. Like, they are the first of its kind to have like a world and not reboot it like every 3 or 4 years. Like, this has been the same universe storyline, not storyline, but like same platform of like this world since 2008. We're now going on 2020. Like, when 2027 or 2026 comes, that'll be almost 20 years of like now being in the same world. When you look at DC, they've had 3 or 4 Batmans, they've had 3 or 4 Supermans, they've had, a bunch of, they've had different characters of the 2 main characters. So you're going to encounter issues when you do something of this kind that's never been done before. I guess where I'm coming from is, with the faith that I have in Kevin Feige, I'm willing to play this out, because if anybody can figure it out, who has the reputation of figuring it out and making shit make sense and groundbreaking stuff, is Kevin Feige. And now that the Russo brothers are back into the fold now, bro, the Russo brothers have done some, bro, you talking about Captain America, Avengers, they done some shit that we know and love they were a part of. And now that they're back in the fold, I'm more confident now moving forward. I think when you lose a Robert Downey, a Chris Evans, Scarlett Johansson, like, they lost so many people that was mainstays for so long. I kind of see it as like, you had the Michael Jordan Bulls, you had Pippen, you had Rodman for X amount of time for the better run of this dynasty. Now you got to rebuild. And I think for Kevin Feige, I think he didn't think that the rebuild would take a little bit longer than expected. But when you lose as many stars as you lost, and now you have to like not recast, but kind of rebrand and like find new stars to build off of, it's just gonna take time. And I think a lot of things that was unforeseen, like the writer strike, COVID, there was some things that were just unforeseen that they just couldn't control. But now I think now they have a better idea what they want to do. So I have no problem with that multiverse, and I think with the multiverse, it gives you, like you said, Justin, it gives you the opportunity to recast people. It gives you the opportunity to recast mantles of certain Captain America, Wolverine, like just certain things that you can't normally do before. And yeah, like you said, like whoever plays Robert Downey, whoever plays Iron Man, whoever plays Captain America, you're filling some big shoes, and you're going to get criticized. I mean, it's not your fault. You just got big shoes to fill. You know, that is what it is. Like, I mean, Robert Downey's 60. He can't play Iron Man forever. It's going to be a point in time.
If Hugh Jackman can play Wolverine until he's 90, RDJ can be Iron Man for the rest of his GD life. Come on.
But you know, like with talking about that, like, so they are working on an X-Men movie, right? We know like it's probably going to be 2028, 2029, but that's going to be like the first thing after Secret Wars, apparently. But you also have other movies that are still in the 616 that are still like, we're going to have a Black Panther 3 at some point. We're probably going to have a Deadpool Wolverine 2 because that movie made 1.4 billion last summer, right? So to me, it's like, that's why you should keep these options open, because like, you know, you might want to like go to Ryan Reynolds every couple of years and go, hey, you have an idea for a Deadpool Wolverine 3 or 4? We need that, right? But you can also have a younger Wolverine in this new 616 universe or whatever, in another universe. You can start your X-Men franchise and not have to worry about like, well, we've got to kill off Hugh Jackman to get him out of the way. It's like, no, like, why not have that option to go back to Hugh Jackman, because you have this multiversal thing where you can do whatever you want to. My last little thing, and we'll get back to talk about this movie directly, but my last little pin put a pin in the multiversal talk and Doctor Doom is that this version of Doom is very much a multiversal villain for the multiverse saga. And I say that because we don't know a ton about this version of Doom, but we do know one thing. I've heard this over and over, that there is a reason why Robert Downey Jr. is playing this character, because there's a reason why his Victor Von Doom looks like our Tony Stark from the 616. There's a reason. So I assume we're going to that's going to be explained very soon in Doomsday, that whether Tony dies and because he was the anchor being, Doom, you know, steals his soul or his essence, or I don't know what he does. Maybe he takes Frank Richards, the baby, to use his powers to warp the multiverse or whatever, but there's a reason. So what I'm saying is this Doom isn't going to be the stereotypical, you know, he knows Reed, probably. He is from Latveria, I assume, but he's probably not super connected to Reed. They probably don't know each other. This Reed Richards, for example, because it is a multiversal story. And, you know, Frank was mentioning some of the things that have happened the last couple of years. We didn't mention the death of Chadwick Boseman. He was going to be a huge character for this. We didn't mention the Jonathan Major situation because, you know, Avengers 5 was going to be called the Kang Dynasty and not Doomsday originally. So lots of things have changed, but I think they're going to figure it out. It's just like they needed more time, to me, to connect these movies. Thankfully, Thunderbolts did some connecting of some, like otherwise there would be almost no connection of any of this stuff. So I do appreciate Thunderbolts for many reasons, but that especially. Let's get back to talking about this movie, and let's talk about, like, we've gone a little bit through the cast, but let's kind of hit all the cast members quickly. Brittany, what'd you think about? You've talked about Vanessa Kirby and we talked about Vanessa Kirby a lot. What'd you think about Reed Richards being played by Pedro Pascal?
Thank you for asking me that question, because this is something I have to talk about. And it kind of coincides with the question here from Cricket. Thank you for joining us in today's live chat. We appreciate you being here. Just a shameless plug-in. If you guys are new to our channel, please consider subscribing to our YouTube. We are on the road to 500 subscribers, currently at 455. We talk about pop culture, sports, lots of different things. So if you enjoyed this podcast thus far, hit that subscribe button. Also hit that like button. So Cricket asked the question, what are your thoughts on Mr. Fantastic as the frontman of the Avengers? So before answering that question, I have to pose this question to everyone. Is Reed Richards supposed to be the kind of person who seems very insecure, second guesses, has doubts? He's a very intelligent man, obviously, right? I had Christian, who was here earlier in the chat, explained basically that, like, Reed Richards blames himself for the events that had occurred in space that caused them to get all these powers and change their lives, et cetera, et cetera. But the question still for me needs to be asked is this Reed Richards' personality of just second guessing, being unsure, not being confident? Because like that did not, and I don't remember the earlier iterations of Reed Richards that well, but I just it didn't set well with me. And I understand this is like year 4 being part of the Fantastic Four and what have you, but I'm like, is this just who he is? Is this in a way comic book accurate? Is this just for this movie? Period.
Frank, what do you think?
Are you asking if his unsure nature, is that something that's in the comics? Like how?
Yeah, I mean, is this just who his character is? I mean, he's brilliant, what have you, but he's always like insecure or just second guessing or just very doubtful about the thing. Is because a lot of the time throughout this movie, it just seems like I'm not sure. I don't know what to do. Like I'm like, why is this happening? Or is this part of Reed Richards' personality?
No, so in this movie, he's socially awkward in the comic books. He's a socially awkward person. He's not really. He doesn't have much, like his
Social
personality.
skills?
Yeah, like his people skills are very limited. His life is science. That's just who he is.
Okay.
It's expounded.
I can accept that.
Yeah, it's expounded a little bit more in the movie because him becoming a father kind of made him even more unsure. Because like it's one thing, read the scientist, read the world-renowned biggest brain on the planet. Like he's more direct and more sure of himself when it comes to science. But I think even when Franklin was born in comic books, like Reed changes, like he becomes more human. Because now, like every decision he makes for the Fantastic Four is like, I want to be around for my kid. I want to make sure I'm doing the best for my kid. And I thought the movie did a great job of like the second guessing, like the Galactus dilemma. Like he didn't want to give up his son. Like he's grappling with the fact, like, do I save billions of people by giving up my son, or do I find another? Can I find another way? I think the pressure of finding a solution to stop Galactus and not having to like even get his brain to that fact of like giving up my kid, because he knows he can't do it, but like he tells Sue in the movie, like it's my job as a scientist to think about every single scenario hypothesis. So from that standpoint, I thought was spot on. Like you can't be machine like when family's on the line. Like you are a newfound father. Like throughout the movie, like and another thing I love about this movie, man, is just I'm so big on family. I'm huge on family, and I love how Johnny and Thing are they clearly see Reed overwhelmed. We're like trying to like just figure out the whole like the world thing. You know what they do? They're doing baby duties. They're watching the kid. They're changing diapers. And you know, I think there was a scene where Johnny is like has the kid strapped to his chest where he's like doing chores with H.E.R.B.I.E, whatever. Like they know Reed is facing more pressure than he ever has before in his life because he is so this father life is just so unknown to him. He doesn't know anything about it. Like, he doesn't know how to operate. And I think the fidgeting, the unsureness was him being him being a parent, like him trying to figure this shit out while saving the world at the same time, while saving billions of people. I thought it was spot on.
No, I mean that's good. Thank you for the explanation, because for me, I'm just like, this doesn't seem right. And I think to your point, Frank, Trisha here in the chat kind of backs it up by saying he's very much a classic nerd with his nose in the books. It probably comes off weird because of the Pedro Pascal of it all. And let's just be real, that's probably what's hard for me to overcome, is the fact that you have Daddy Pedro, who is all sorts of characters in the last few years. I mean, he's just dominating Hollywood right now. And I guess also on the heels of The Last of Us and just how like protective he is and just how smart he is in that environment. And then to see him in a different environment as Reed Richards, the smartest man in the universe, who also has these incredible abilities, which by the way, the stretching looked really cool in this movie. I think they did that extremely well. Very cool to see Pedro Pascal have like these superpowers, but to see him just so insecure and so unsure, and I'm like, this isn't who you are. But okay, the explanation you provided, I think, is very helpful.
And
But yeah,
to expound on that a little bit more too, he didn't get two points I want to make. He didn't get Sue because he's this fly ass dude. Like in the comic book, Sue dated Doom. Doom was that before Doom got his face disfigured and shit. Doom was the playboy. Doom was the pretty boy with the brain. Like that was the guy. That he was the high school jock. Like everybody wanted to be around Victor. That's who he was. Reed was the classic nerd science kid, that pick squeak kid, but big brain. And Sue was all about the good looks of Victor. And like in the comic books, it switches because Sue sees Reed for more than what she looks for in a man. This, powerful, power tie, power suit, big brain, handsome. And she sees Reed for who he is, as this kind-hearted, he's soft, but he's very kind, he's very inviting, and his intelligence is what drew her to him. When Pascal got casted to play Reed, Pascal's he's a great actor. I'm not, Oberyn Martell is Pascal it's Pascal, and Pascal is Oberyn Martell. He's my favorite Game of Thrones character of all time. He captured that character perfectly. My main concern with Pedro playing this man was, how you gonna get this fucking sex symbol to play a fucking nerd, a pipsqueak nerd who's unsure of himself?
Oh, very easy.
And I was so nervous. I was so nervous that if he was going to pull this off throughout the movie. And within the first 15 minutes, I was sold. I was so sold. I mean, this guy in Captain, like he studied the role. Like he's really the mannerisms are like the way he walks. Like he's just unsure about everything. Like the way he walks. Like, the only thing he's sure about is formulaic data on a whiteboard. Like that was the one part that he's sure about in his life. Everything else, he is hesitant. He's unsure. He gets ripped on a lot by Johnny. Like all that shit. That's who Reed is. But Pedro did a great job, man, and he eased my concerns when the first 15 minutes of that movie.
Yeah, I mean, Reed Richards, he's like the smartest man in the world, right? But oftentimes, including this version, he blames himself for what happened to them, how they got their powers, right? And especially what happens to Ben Grimm, because Ben, becomes a rock-like creature. In this movie, in other versions of the Fantastic Four in the films, Ben has always kind of been upset with Reed about, hey, like, you got to fix me. And Reed says, I will fix you. He tries to fix him. He can't do it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But in this film, like, the thing is he's very comfortable with being what he is. Like, he's gotten used to being the rock creature that, the super strong rock creature. So yeah, Pedro Pascal, I thought he was great. Honestly, I thought he was really good in the role. Now, granted, I have seen a lot of comments of people like, oh, he seems like he's very unsure of himself. He seems like he's very dumb. But it's like, when you think about what the character is going through, I mean, it's not like, the smartest man in the world right now, whoever that is, I'm not sure who it is. You can throw out whoever you want to throw it, right? How about we have a herald come down on a surfboard and tell the world is going to be devoured in a week, right? Like, get your shit together, get your things in order, hug your family members. But in a week, this giant cosmic planet devouring creature is going to, eat the world. I bet they'd probably have a little tough time. They'd probably be stressed out and like, I don't have an answer for that. Yeah. Yeah,
they're not machines.
They don't teach you that. Too. Right. At MIT, they didn't teach you how to stop planet devouring creatures.
They didn't?
No, I don't think so. I didn't get in, so I
don't. He didn't minor in it.
No. Well, I'll tell you what. At North Texas, they damn sure didn't teach me how to stop Galactus. I never learned that in my journalism.
No, you would have taken the course on how to become Galactus.
Right. Yeah, I'd have gone the other way. Yeah,
let's just be real.
But no, so I think Pedro did a great job. I'm going to skip over Vanessa Kirby, not because I think because everyone thinks she did the best job of anybody.
She carried.
We're going to talk about her favorite scenes. And I think she's going to be pretty heavy in that. So let's go to Ebon Moss-Bachrach as Ben Grimm. Of course, Ebon Moss-Bachrach, famous from The Bear. I don't know if you see my shirt, but I've got the thing shirt that says The Bear. It says The Beef. It's cousin Tommy. You can't really see it, but it's a crossover between The Bear and this version of the Fantastic Four. So let's talk about his role and also Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm. Brittany, what did you think about these two members of the Fantastic Four, how they were portrayed in the film?
So from what I do remember of the Chris Evans adaptation of the Human Torch, definitely like the good-looking guy, the womanizer, whatever, and not getting a whole lot of that from Joseph Quinn in this movie, which I thought was fine, which was great. I wasn't really like, I need to see this. I did appreciate the fact that I think Frank had said it earlier about these are 4 scientists. Like these are people who are brilliant in their own right, who unfortunately went to space and they came back with powers. I guess you could say that it's unfortunate, depending on who you're talking about. But for Johnny, like to be able to showcase his brilliance with linguistics and to listen to these records over and over again, and then to hear the Herald speak in her native tongue and catch up with her once more in the movie when they're on their way to actually meet Galactus, and she says that phrase again and is able to translate it. Just on those few words alone, Johnny was able to translate almost a whole language, right? To be able to speak to her one-on-one when she comes back to New York, and he speaks to her in her own tongue. Like that is so powerful because to be able to relate to somebody on their level and to try to plead to them, you did what you needed to do to save your planet. I'm just trying to do the same. And I think that was really great, showcasing Johnny having a bigger role than just being like dude who's hot-headed or a womanizer kind of thing. I think it's a great shift to allow him to show his brilliance and to showcase that yes, he is a part of this team for a reason, because he has something to offer. He has some kind of expertise to provide in this time of great uncertainty and great fear, right? I thought that was amazing. Very little. I think he was also in Gladiator 2, Justin, if I'm not mistaken.
He was one of the
Pedro.
emperors. Yeah,
he was one of the emperors. He wasn't the crazy one. He was a little bit more level-headed, quote unquote. But I thought
too.
He was. Yeah, we didn't find that out until recently. He was one of the guards when Arya came back to Winterfell. I think you were the one who pointed that out, Frank. Yeah. So that was kind of funny. But outside of like these few movies, and shows, like I'm not familiar with Joseph Quinn. I know he's slated to be in like the next Beatles type biopic of some kind. Yeah. But I think for what they wrote the character to be, I think was just very well done. And as far as The Thing, I know that The Thing has usually been more moody, and like what you said, Justin, about being upset with Reed about, hey, like you need to fix me, blah blah blah. And he seems to be content, for all intents and purposes, in his own skin at this point. And how like Johnny is kind of like supportive of him, because I know they would bicker, like either it was in the comics or in the movies, they would always constantly bicker, but Johnny was showing like support, when the blackouts were rolling out to conserve the energy, and The Thing was like, oh, I can't shave my beard. He's like, no, I think you would look good with beard. It's like, oh, okay. That like those little things were really nice. Yeah. But you could see the moments for The Thing when he would watch footage of his old self, and then the TV shut off and you see his reflection of him now, and it's like, yeah, you miss the old you because that's who you are, and now people see you in a different way, but he's still accepted, right? The school kids wanted him to toss the car. That one teacher came up to him and was very kind to him, and he goes and sees her at the synagogue when it seems like things were about to go south, and and like despite his appearance, he's still accepted because he is a hero, because he has done so much for the people, and he's just, it seems to be a very likable person, very much less moody than the predecessors of The Thing, right? So I think they both did extremely well. And yes, the nod to like the bear with the chef kind of taste testing with H.E.R.B.I was very cute. I thought that was just fun for them to incorporate his other character into it ever so slightly.
Yeah. Frank, what'd you think about the other two members of the Fantastic Four, Johnny Storm and Ben Grimm? How they were portrayed, how their powers looked? I thought the powers looked cool. What'd you think about that?
Yeah, sorry to piggyback on you, Brittany, but I just love how they didn't make Human Torch just a womanizer dummy. Like I love how they include that. Hey, I'm smart too. I'm a rocket scientist too. I have something to add to the table. Like it was just nice to see that. I'm not too familiar with Joe, the guy who plays Human Torch. I know he was in the last Quiet Place film with Lupita. He did a great job in that film too. Everything I've seen him in, he's been fine. I mean, a lot of it was bit roles, but I think Quiet Place was the one movie that before Gladiator 2 that I saw. I was like, okay, he's doing his thing. I didn't know he was British. I thought he was American. Like it's just like these guys, they come in the film industry and just they totally just transform their accent. Like they're true thespians and how they can do that. But no, I thought the powers looked dope on screen. Even the thing, the cousin from the bear, like I thought he did a great job. I thought he did a great job too. Like one of the funny things to me, I know it was a minute detail, but like the growing of the growing of the beard, the rock beard, I thought that was kind of cool. I thought it was really funny and like kind of adorable that they added that in the movie. But it was just a fresh take of like the team, and it wasn't like more of the same. And like and even down to the origin story, I love how they encapsulated the origin story in 3 minutes. Like, hey, this is what happened 4 years ago. Boom, boom, boom. Reef was bad. Like, this is what. Like, it was not a 45-minute thing out of the movie, which I'm glad it wasn't. Because I'm glad more movies are now, especially characters who we've seen the story before. I'm glad more movies are like just kind of just fast forwarding and like finding a time periods where that character already is established. I like that. But no, I mean, cinematography, man, I think it was one of the best cinematography viewed movies I've seen in a long time in Marvel. Because like we complain like Captain America, bro. That shit was like Marvel Television and TV Studios shot that shit. Like it was so fucking bad as far as like the CG was garbage. Like even the showdown between Red Hulk and Captain America, it looked cheap. It looked so cheap. Even though, and I'm like, bro, like as much marketing to do for this movie, it better not look cheap. And it was if that was like the garbage version of Other Side of the Universe, Fantastic Four cinematography was on the other side. It was A1. But no, the powers look good. The stretchy Pedro stretching, being stretched out. All that shit.
That was crazy.
That was crazy. I thought he was going to tear up. I thought he was going to die. I was really concerned. Like Gladiator had him. I mean, not Gladiator. Galactus having him in his hand like that. I was like, bro, is it gonna be Fantastic 3? Like, what's going? Like, how's he gonna get out of this? Like, it looked really, really scary.
No, it still would have been 4. The baby.
The baby was subbed in off the bench.
Off the bench, man. Right? Come on, look what he did for his mama. All right.
Yeah, but there are times where I forgot that this was fantasy. Like the powers look so realistic. Sue Storm, like, bro, she's like dropping her nuts and going and like blocking Galactus for a second. Like she's like, I'm like, nigga, like and don't get it twisted. That's accurate. Like she's an mega level being. Like she's that powerful. But seeing that on screen, I going against Galactus, like it just the whole mother bear thing, like how that was like really exuded in the movie, like how her power just ratcheted up a couple levels trying to protect a child. I thought it was just fun to see, man. I'm all about like the mama cub aspect of heroes, and like it was dope. I loved it.
Yeah.
And the family aspect to kind of wrap this up for me at least is so just extremely well done. You would think that Johnny, as the brother to Sue and the brother-in-law to Reed, would maybe be like, maybe he doesn't care for the choice, right? But he, him being so excited for his sister, and then he's like, you, Reed, you are way in over your head. Like, this is too much for you. Like, just keeping it funny, keeping it light, keep it real. And then also just constantly trying to get the thing to say the catchphrase, right? It's clobbering time. He's like, no, that's only in the show. And even Johnny with the thing at the very end in the final showdown, he's like, come on, what time is it? No. What time is it? No. And then you see thing like Cannonball, it's clobbering time. Like that was just really fun. That was this movie had some good lines for sure, but just as I mentioned earlier, for me personally, the pacing just kind of like didn't carry for me. The storyline didn't carry for me, but like the characters, the casting was extremely well done. I think Marvel absolutely nailed it with this cast for sure.
Yeah.
And Vanessa Kirby is, you know, Cricket here had asked about, you know, thoughts on Mr. Fantastic as the frontman of the Avengers. I'm gonna say it's Sue Storm. Okay, like that's just me. She's gonna be the one who's telling Reed what to do because
I don't know the Fantastic Four are going to lead the Avengers. I think the Avengers have leaders and they have people in play. You know, Captain America, Sam Wilson is going to be a leader.
Hey, I had heard before Chadwick passed that he was actually going to be the one. Black Panther was going to be the one to like lead the Avengers, or maybe Shang-Chi at this point. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the train of thought is, but yeah.
No, I mean the fun of the next movie is going to be how are these different groups going to meet up and what's going to, you know, much like what we saw in Infinity War and Endgame, these different groups of characters that have never met. Yeah. I mean, Loki's going to be in the movie, so we'll see what happens with that. But I do want to shout out Yesenia. She mentioned she loved the set designers. I thought the set design looked great. I think that was part of the visual. The retro futuristic 60s thing. I liked it. I wish we would have kind of got more of that. Like that again, that's one of those things where my complaint with the movie, it just felt like it's too short. And there is a comic book tie-in that I purchased the other day on my Kindle and I read it. It's basically like a little like prequel to the movie, and it explains like their first year and explains a lot about Subterranea and then how they broker a deal. Basically, Sue brokers a deal with the Mole Man, who is played by Paul Walter Hauser. I thought he was very good comic relief in the movie. I wouldn't really call him a villain per se, but he is one of their foes in the comic books, and certainly he's a foe in the first comic book.
More of an antagonizer than a villain at this point.
but that the comic book tie-in really does kind of help with story a little bit more. It kind of sets the time period better than even like what the movie does. Talk about some more cast members. Let's talk about the villains. Shalla-Bal isn't a villain for the whole movie. Julie Gardner, Silver Surfer, but she starts out that way. So let's talk about Silver Surfer and Galactus. Brittany, what'd you think about these characters? Now, mind you, we did have a Silver Surfer in 2007's The Rise of the Silver Surfer. That was the male version, Nora and Rad. Now we got the female version, Shalla-Bal. What'd you think about her and then her dealing with Galactus?
I don't have too many thoughts to offer, really, because other than just her character having to just do the bidding of Galactus, and it just seemed obviously like, okay, this is probably done against her will and what have you. I didn't care if Silver Surfer was male or female. It's like if you can deliver on the role, that's really all that matters to me. But I don't know if it made the movie or if it broke the movie necessarily. I don't have too much of an opinion to offer. Unfortunately, I think it was great at the very end of it for her to have made the decision to help the Fantastic Four save their planet, you know, just much like how she tried to save her planet. She made a sacrifice for herself in order to save the planet, and she did it again by bumping Galactus into that black hole when he looked like he was about to emerge out of it. So cool. I don't know. I guess it served its purpose having Silver Surfer be there, but couldn't care less. I don't know.
Okay.
Sorry.
Frank, what'd you think about Shalla-Bal, Silver Surfer working with Galactus and that whole dynamic?
I think men are the problem, dog, when it comes to the Earth's problems, dog. I don't know what the issue was. Like,
finally, a man who understands.
I don't get it. Like, Shalla-Bal is in the comics. Like, she exists. Like, this is not a thing that they made up and like say, oh no, fuck Norman Rad. We're gonna make this make the silver bitch and bring her in and just create noise. Like, no, she's in the comics too. Like, what? Like, I don't know what people were so pissed off about. Look, man. I love the character. Look, I'm a fan of the actress too. Like, she killed it in Ozark. Like, every time I see her, I scream that line. You don't have to fucking kill me. I love the act. She's cold. She's that bitch. She is cold as fuck. And And I don't know, man. I might be in the minority, man. I thought she's sexier in silver than she is in regular white skin. That's I don't know.
Okay, so
I not.
on that note, Frank, sorry to cut you off. What
Yeah.
did you think of her CGI? Because a lot of people, when they saw the trailer, were like, "This CGI is trash. Like, this is so trash in comparison to like the first iteration of the Silver Surfer that we got."
I thought it was fine. I had no issues. I had no issues with CGI in this movie. I thought CGI was. I gave it an A throughout the whole movie. I thought it was great. I hope to see her again. I mean, I know how the movie ends and like, but I hope to see her again. I thought she did a great job. Maybe it was just me, but it looked like her and Johnny had chemistry. Like, maybe it was just me, but like, I love Shalla-Bal in this movie. I thought she did a great job. I like how they show her origin story. A quick little 30-second synopsis of her of what she had to give up to be this man-eating slave for Galactus. Like, I had no issue with it. I thought she did a great job.
Yeah, I thought the surfing on the fire was cool.
Yeah, it was.
To me,
Yeah,
I was like, okay,
cool.
like the surfboard makes sense for this, especially because he's literally surfing on the fire, in that scene. Let's talk about Galactus a little bit, as far as like when he gets to New York and like how massive he is compared to the skyscrapers in New York. I thought that was like, it's one of my favorite parts in a Marvel movie, period. Like, it's so cool seeing him arrive, splash down in like, I don't know, Hudson Bay or whatever that is right there. And then, walk through this abandoned city and just like, leaning over onto a building and crushing it and, stepping on stuff and just how massive he was compared to the Fantastic Four and obviously to Franklin later on. Brittany, what did you think about the scale of Galactus, seeing him in a city? I thought it was pretty cool.
I thought Godzilla was gonna pop up
Yeah.
like shortly afterwards. My goodness. I thought because he splashed down so hard that Godzilla's like, who disturbed my slumber? Jesus. But yeah, massive being. And I mean, I still don't fully understand like Galactus and how he came to be like this planet eating something or other, and it's fine. I don't need the full explanation now, but just the scale of him and how, for one, how quickly everyone moved out of New York City to the underground so that they hopefully weren't going to be trampled by his strides. I mean, truly a force to be reckoned with, right? And I mean, I think he looked cool with like the eye thing, like the purple eyes and just the
Yeah.
beaming and trying to like scan to see where Franklin is and what have you. I think I was like, well, how do you slow down this guy? And then obviously when Reed gets his little not pitchfork, his little spiky thing, and I guess Galactus is fueled by lava type something or other, because it seemed like it was spilling out of his back like that once he kind of opened the back little circular portion of it. I'm probably not explaining this well, but yeah, I mean, Galactus also seems pretty intelligent too. Looks cool. Wouldn't want to tangle with that dude, but hey, I don't have to.
Yeah. Frank, thoughts on Galactus stomping through New York City?
Probably one of the best illustrations of a villain on the big screen in a while. He looked like a god. Like, he looked unstoppable, and I felt it. That was my main issue with Rise of the Surfer. You didn't see him, like, as grand as he is, as huge as he is, like figuratively and physically. Like, you didn't get that in that incarnation of the film. This one you did. Like, he was a problem. Like, and he looked like a problem. And the purple eyes, it looked menacing. It looked like he just looked like somebody, and it looked like he was holding back too. Like, it would have been nice to see like him really unleash and like really do a lot more damage. But no, but as far as the illustration, how he looked, I thought it was great. I love the scene where they actually go bargain, like negotiate with him, and they fight to get out. I thought I loved everything about it. As far as him being in the movie. The story makes sense.
Dormammu, I come to bargain. That's what that was.
Yeah. So I mean, I thought it was great. It was a great illustration of the villain. So
yeah, you talk about the scene. Let's talk about that scene where they go and negotiate with him. Let's talk about some of our favorite scenes from the movie. Brittany, let you start off first. What was maybe your favorite scene? Because there is some action stuff in this movie that's pretty memorable. Whether it's Sue giving birth while they're trying to escape the
Golly.
surfer and Galactus. I mean, there's obviously the fight at the end when we think that Sue died, pushing Galactus to the black hole. What was your favorite scene?
Sadly, I didn't feel anything when Sue died. I don't know if what that says about me as a person. I think because it's like, she's gonna come back at some, some fashion. She has to. I didn't think at all it was gonna be Franklin. Um, to see the baby kind of just like cry and reach out for her, trying to get out of his dad's arms, and lays on top of her to, I guess, create life for all intents and purposes, or to restore her life, right? Her obviously pushing back Galactus and using all of her strength to do so was really incredible to witness. Um, I think the few moments with the Thing showcasing his strength, of course, with the kids, it's like, oh, pick it up, and he's like, oh, I don't know if I can pick it up, and it's like, no, you can do it, and it's just really great interaction between him and the kids, what have you. I'm not sure if I can really say I have really top favorite moments, other than just showcasing like their powers.
Yeah.
Like I said already, Reed Richards' powers was extremely well done. I was very nervous, of course, when uh, Mr. Fantastic's being stretched to almost non-existence, right, by Galactus, and that
Yeah.
was very concerning. I'm like, oh no, is what's his name, Krasinski, gonna have to replace him now? I was like, wait, he's gone. He's gone too. Never mind. So, but yeah, I'm not sure if I truly have like
Yeah.
favorite moments per se,
Okay.
because like I said, I was kind of dozing off a couple of times throughout the movie.
Okay. Frank, so what are some of your favorite moments in the film?
I love the moment where they're trying to escape Galactus, and like
Yeah.
they literally team up and everybody does their part.
Yeah.
While she's having the baby on the damn thing, like pushing out this life form while protecting the ship, while the Thing is driving the ship out of there, while Reed is like trying to figure, like he's trying to find a time jump to. That was stressful. That was really a stressful, like 15-minute like thing while Civil Service chasing them. That was probably my favorite scene of all.
Yeah.
And then Franklin Richards showing his life, his power of like bringing back his mother. I thought that was kind of dope too. I didn't think they'll show that early, especially as a baby. But that was pretty cool. And then like Johnny decoding the language finally and figuring out what was being said, and like showing that back to Shalla-Bal, like, hey, I understand you, and like having that connection, I thought was kind of cool too. I didn't take it as an action movie. I know it's a Marvel film. I took it more so of like a really carefully thought of like suspense movie, more so than an action movie.
Okay, that's fair. I just like there's some big action moments, to me, the escape in Galactus is like an all timer because, like you said, that's one thing about this movie where they all work together a lot. We get to see them as a Fantastic Four more so than we just see them individually, which I think is very smart for the first film in the MCU.
Yeah.
But when they're trying to escape, you're right. Like, Ben, he's the pilot. He's trying to get out of this like asteroid field or whatever, this in space, trying to fly away. You've got Johnny on the guns trying to shoot the Silver Surfer, which reminded me of Star Wars. There's some like some Star Wars appeal to that. You've got Reed and Sue's giving birth. Reed's trying to help her with that. Like there's so much going on, and just them having to deal with all that in that moment. And then the very end, when they're fighting Galactus and they try to switch up with the the empty baby carriage, and then they try to take the baby to H.E.R.B.I, who's at the Baxter building, and then Galactus gets the baby, and then they have to get the baby back. Like we mentioned before, Reed getting almost stretched apart. Like that was very crazy to see. And then with Sue, like it's not like I thought she was going to die because I know that Vanessa Kirby is going to be in Doomsday because we got to find that out months ago when Marvel put out those chairs that had everybody's name who's in the movie so far. But I did for a second there. I was like, oh wow, maybe they're going to kill her off and bring her back like in Secret Wars or something. But then having Franklin use his power, his immense power to bring her back in that moment, I was like, oh, I didn't totally see that coming. And then the baby claps, which I thought was a nice touch. Um, Now, I have seen a lot of criticism of the baby because obviously the baby is CGI through most of it. What did y'all think about the baby? I thought the baby looked okay to me. Brittany, what did you think about the baby?
I think for the most part, the baby looked fine. I mean, there's instances, of course, you can tell it's CGI, especially when the baby was in Reed's arms and, like I said, trying to get to Sue. That movement right there is just not so like natural for. And this is the other thing too. Yesenia had brought this up in our live chat. She goes, I needed a better delineation of time because we don't know exactly how much time has transpired from the moment that Franklin was born to getting the whole world to cooperate with building these bridge things to, you know what I'm saying? Like we just don't have a sense of time. And so how old is this child at this point? Is he closer to 1? Is he, he's crawling. That's for sure. He's crawling. So you definitely like closer to 1. But there were certain things that the baby was doing that wouldn't line up with his age. So that's beside the point. So but certain instances, you can definitely tell that this was like a CGI baby. Cute baby. Adorable baby. I don't know why in my mind I figured that Franklin would age faster than what his actual age would be, right? Because you think like I can't believe I'm referencing Twilight. The baby that Edward and Bella have, because the baby's half human, half vampire, her age accelerated, so she could actually be like 6 months old, but she looks like a 10-year-old or something like that. It makes no sense, but it's just how like supernatural stuff works, I guess. But I thought maybe this was something similar, but it seems like Franklin is aging appropriately based on the time that has passed.
But as far as his birth, it seems like Galactus kind of induced that labor quicker than he was supposed to be born, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so that's probably. But you're right. The timing question of like, when in the story, that's not super clear. So
no.
Anyway, is there anything else that we didn't mention from the movie that y'all want to touch on before we get to the final topic? Anything that we didn't talk about that you want to mention?
I think we kind of hit all the major points of this movie. Like I said, for me, it's not my favorite. When I say it's a mid movie, it's like it's not a great movie, it's not a bad movie. It's kind of like somewhere in the middle in terms of like your average movie watching experience for myself. Is it something I'll go watch again? Maybe when it comes out on Disney Plus, but I'm probably not going to go see it again in theaters. I don't need to spend $20-something to take a nap. That's really harsh of me to say.
Wow,
but
it's pretty harsh. Yeah,
I know.
Because there are worse movies in the theaters right now.
No,
I've seen one of them with a giant dinosaurs, and it's not.
And I told you I was not going to go watch that. Now, I think my problem was I saw this movie on the heels of watching Superman because, as some of y'all know, I was on vacation. I didn't get a chance to watch the premiere of Superman. I just saw it Friday night, and then I saw Fantastic Four yesterday afternoon. And Superman for me was like all gas, no brakes. The pacing was great. The story was, I think, great, and the characters were great. I think that was just my mistake. I probably shouldn't have watched them so closely together, but it is what it is.
Well, that kind of teased up my final question, Frank. I want to ask you. So now that we've had Fantastic Fours in theaters, all 4 superhero movies this year have been released. So we had Captain America: Brave New World in February. We had Thunderbolts, aka the New Avengers, in May. We had Superman a few weeks ago, and now we have Fantastic Four: The First Steps. Frank, rank those movies, those 4 movies to see this year, the superhero films.
Favorite to least: Fantastic Four, Superman, Captain America, Thunderbolts.
Okay, Brittany, same question.
I'm going to go with probably Superman first.
Okay.
Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, Brave New World.
You know what? We have the same list, but for me, to me, Superman, Fantastic Four, and Thunderbolts are very close.
Yeah.
To me, the difference is I like the connectivity of Thunderbolts better than what Fantastic Four gave me.
Yeah.
And with Superman, obviously I'm a Superman fan, so that's, obviously I'm very biased, but the highs of Superman were higher than either Thunderbolts or Fantastic Four.
And I'm not a Superman fan, so for me to put that number one is kind of big.
Yeah. So yeah, we're done with those with the superhero movies for the year. That's crazy. As far as like what's next, let's talk about that real quickly. What's coming next on Disney Plus? We have Eyes of Wakanda August 27th, Marvel Zombies October 3rd, and the Wonder Man series is coming out in December. That's a live action series. And then films wise, we don't have another movie until next summer. Apparently, Spider-Man Brand New Day is coming out July 31st, 2026. I'm not sure if that's actually going to happen. We'll see. Then December 18th, 2026, Avengers Doomsday. And then the following year, December 17th, 2027, Avengers Secret Wars. So that is what's coming up next as far as the MCU. And we'll be here to talk about all those projects as they drop. So you said about does it for us. Now you know what we thought about Fantastic Four First Steps. We want to know what you thought about it. And Brittany, how can people let us know?
As always, we invite everyone to join us in our live chat. As you can see, we had several today join us and tell us their thoughts about the movie. Shout out to Yesenia, King B. Johnson, Cricket. I think I saw Derpy Entertainment here earlier, Trisha, and McDorks, who all participated in today's live chat. Appreciate you being here, taking the time out of your day to join us. And if you're watching our replay, leave a comment down below. What did you think about the Fantastic Four First Steps movie? Let us know once again in the comments down below. And if you are new to the Watchers in the Basement YouTube channel, consider subscribing. We're on the road to 500 subscribers. Help make that happen. Hit the like button, hit that notification bell. That way you know the next time we go live. Follow all of our social media. You can find the links in the description box down below. And check out our audio podcast available to you on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Give us a follow. Give us a 5-star rating.
Yes, please do all that. Thank you, Brittany. So for Brittany, for Brittany and for Frank, I'm Justin saying thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We will see you next time. Have a good rest of your day. Good rest of your weekend. Bye-bye.